Hello everyone, this video is part of our Vision Update 2021 and we're going to be talking about discipleship and being discipled. As we've talked about in our podcasts, discipleship is about becoming more like Jesus. Obviously believing the things that he taught, but also about living the way that he lived and the way that he taught us to live. One of the ways that we can grow in our discipleship, in becoming more like Jesus, is in a more intentional discipleship relationship. And that is what we're going to be talking to Darrel about. So welcome, Darrel.
Good morning, Tim.
Thank you. Thanks for being willing to be part of this. I'm going to be asking Darrel some questions. I'm going to be sharing a bit of my heart as well, because this has been a journey for me. But we've been meeting for a while, haven't we?
Yes.
How long has it been?
Nearly 2 years now.
So we've been meeting for about 2 years, and we've been kind of going through the Bible, sharing life together, talking together about becoming like Jesus.
Yes.
In a kind of more intentional way. So let's begin. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Feeling good?
Yes.
Okay.
Feeling nervous, but good.
Good. So tell us, Darrel, how did it come about that we started to meet, and why did you want to meet in a sort of more intentional way?
Yeah, when I first came, I was like come to Christianity for many years, but I needed to understand the Bible.
Yeah.
I had a lot of questions, how it fitted into my life. Also, what was the Bible about?
Yeah.
And so many questions, as you can appreciate.
Yeah.
And I was like an empty vessel,
Yeah.
what needed to be filled.
Yeah. And I think you said, we were chatting the other day, and you said that we met a few years ago. Our paths crossed.
Yeah.
But then I think it was on a Sunday, maybe, we were chatting, and you had some questions, and we talked about a bit more focus time.
Yeah, I was trying to read the Bible by myself, and I was looking on like YouTube and different books and different things, different people saying, and that was confusing for me.
Yeah.
And I needed some direction.
Yeah.
Because to do it by yourself, I was finding hard, because there seemed to be people saying different things and understanding it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to understand the Bible.
So we began to meet, didn't we? To begin with, we met with Tim as well, Tim Murray,
That was
myself,
excellent.
and
Yep.
you. And we did about an hour a week, roughly, for sort of...
Many times it went over an hour.
Yeah, things went over. And I have to say, Darrel was excellent in that you had many questions, which is fantastic, because it was just great to be able to flow and talk about Jesus and talk about the Bible and everything.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Again, I was totally new. I might have been an adult and lived a varied life, but understanding the Bible in its context was just a brand new experience for me. Totally.
It's great. So what, talking about that kind of one-to-one meetups and things like that, what difference do you think it's made to regularly, have a regular time with someone in this way? What difference has it made in your life?
Oh, it's just gave me a great experience, and like I said, I think you need leadership and a teacher to show you the way. You have to have trust in a teacher to guide you and to answer your questions, what you believed. Sometimes I was struggling, to be fair, especially with the Old Testament.
Yeah.
The Old Testament, and my feelings around that initially, I'll be honest, I could not understand.
Yeah.
And so over time, now I understand it a lot more.
Yeah.
If I was to do that by myself, I'll be honest, I struggled with the Old Testament, didn't I?
Yeah. And I think this kind of one-to-one relationship is so important in all of our walks. Many of you would have had times where someone took you under their wing as such and led you in the ways of Jesus. And I hope many of you had. I know for me, John Cook did this for me. I've been meeting with John now for about 19 years, I think it is.
Wow.
But when I was 16 years old, he sort of took me under his wing and began to share with me, do life together in some ways and talk about Jesus together. And it has a massive effect. But I know that for me as well, not only being sort of taken under the wing, but also being able to invest in you, Darrel, has been a massive thing for me, and a great time of when you're with someone and you're having to talk through,
Yeah.
and when Darrel asks the questions of, what does this mean, or what about this? I think two things. One, it makes sure you know what you believe, and that you're living it out and that it's real. I think the other thing that I've experienced is, as I've walked with Darrel through his sort of early faith years, it's been so encouraging to me to see again some of the truths of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and things that I've kind of just take for granted, seeing just how wonderful they are again with fresh eyes. It's like seeing it all again. It's been amazing for me as well, really.
I can remember sometimes some of the questions was very raw and basic, maybe, I don't know, but it's important to me too. So to get your understanding and guide me, what I loved about it, you just guided me, and I came to you have to come to your own conclusions. It was definitely well worth it and needed. And it was embarrassing sometimes, because Tim would turn around and say, "Oh, that's really challenged me." And I'm thinking, "Oh, is that good or bad?"
Now, I know at the start of your journey, you'd come to church and you'd become a Christian and all of that. But there was a period of time, we can't quite remember where it was, but I think you began to pull away from Sundays a little bit.
Yes.
Just talk a bit about that, and maybe why meeting with someone and having someone there for you was so important in that time.
Initially when I first came to church, it was after a bad period in my life, so I was low in confidence. I made the decision, I found Amber Coat. But initially when I first come through the doors, it took me 3 months, I think it was, to actually walk through the door, and I walked through with someone, an ex-partner. And so that was okay initially. But the ex-partner left. It's a different story altogether. And I felt I was maybe judged a little bit coming through the doors, due to, if you look at me, I don't see myself as a Christian, so other people, I can imagine other people, and I didn't know I was good enough to be a Christian. So it was hard to walk through the doors by myself with a lack of confidence, lack of trust in myself.
Yeah, and it's hard when you're on your own just to go and sit by someone. So that can be really difficult.
It was very strange. Even though some were friendly when I first came, I felt on the outside. I don't know if that was through my own...
It was how you felt.
Believing, was I worthy enough to be a Christian? Because that was one of my main questions, weren't it? Due to past issues. So I did struggle and lacked confidence to walk through the door.
And what was great is in our times we were able to recognise that, and that's where these relationships are so key, because if there only had been a Sunday, probably you could have drifted away potentially, we don't know. But what we did is we recognised, we gave you a job.
Yes,
We put you on the door, welcoming people, which got you kind of a place and a position to then feel that confidence to meet people, to connect with people. And then, and it was just such a key moment. It reminded me, I know that there are lots of new Christians that maybe in their initial weeks or months, are really going for it, but then something happens and they can, it might not be your particular challenges, but other challenges, and then they begin to drift away. And actually, these one-to-one times, you can address those specific things that person is struggling with. So, Darrel, we're going to talk a bit, when we talk about discipleship, we are talking about what we believe, but we're talking about more than that. We're talking about a way of life, our whole lives. So tell us about some of the things that we've been chatting through in the last couple of years.
Oh, well, we've talked about everything, but one of the main point, when I first came to Christianity, I wanted to understand how that fitted into normal life. So a lot of my questions about what is a Christian, what do we do? I thought we were on different planes, and I didn't realise in my own head that we're just normal people, just with a belief and a love for God. One of my faults, I need guidance and I need rhythms in my life, habits to form. Initially that was up and down, but once I found it, I can understand it.
And we've used one of the things that we've been using in our times is this booklet, which we've talked about in our podcast, which is really just a support. It's not a magic formula or anything. It's just gives some scriptures to go through. So we talk about what we believe and go through kind of the big story of God and the Bible and what we believe. But then also there are those habits, those rhythms, which Darrel talks about. So it does talk about things like prayer, about money, about forgiveness, about rest, about work, all these kind of different things that make up being a disciple of Jesus, really. So it's been good to touch on all those subjects, hasn't it?
Covers every aspect of your life, and that's what I wanted. I want to come, as much as it sounds strange, but a full Christian as best as possible. Follow my path, but my path's a lot straighter with the teachings from yourself and having that discipline to follow these instincts and habits has been really good.
It's great. I think I'm just going to talk about two challenges to this kind of thing that many of us have had, and I have. I think number one, probably one of the main things, so if you were thinking maybe you've been a Christian for a while, you're a mature Christian, and you don't have a relationship where you're investing into somebody else, one of the main things I think is that you maybe don't feel good enough. You don't feel that you have all the answers. You don't feel that you can answer all the questions. And I'd just say from my point of view, that I've felt like that as well. And there's been many times that Darrel's asked me questions and I've gone, I don't know.
That's been really good, and it put me at ease, because especially when you're new, you think everyone knows everything about the Bible. And so that was it's brilliant. So I know the levels.
Yeah. There's been times, definitely, Darrel's asked questions. I've been like, I really don't know. But I'll go away and we'll look at it together and we'll find out some resources and we'll find it. So really want to encourage you, if you don't feel you're good enough to invest in someone else, actually, you may need more investment in you. The other thing that we did is we did it in a 2 to begin with. Me and Tim met with Darrel. And again, that's something we'd love to do more of, where there's 2 people. So if you feel like, I do want to invest in someone, I want to do this, but I don't feel confident to do it on my own, then pairing up as well, we can definitely talk about that. So the other thing that sometimes we have is challenges with time. So we're busy people. So I know currently, because of your back injury, you're not working, but originally you were working. So how did you find the time to do it, and prioritise this?
In a way, I was quite lucky because I had flexible hours at work.
Yeah.
But I do find if you really want to do something and you want to invest in that time, you can find the time. You can change other habits, change other what you're doing to try to fit in. It weren't perfect. Sometimes my work dictated that I couldn't make it. But in generally, I think we can use the time as an excuse a little bit. I'm not, for me anyway. I think if you really want to do something, you can look at it and try to adapt it more. It ain't precise. But if you really want to do it, and I really wanted to do it.
And that was definitely something I'd say your hunger drove that, there was a hunger in you, and that drove a lot of our meetings and our times together. Darrel would turn up with questions that we could work through, and it had a real life about it.
A4. A4 sheets.
So
questions.
Just 2 more questions then, mate. So is there anything you found difficult in this? What have you found hard in these times? Is there anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think sometimes, like I say, initially that was hard, and coming through the doors, that decision to put me on the door was excellent. I've been quite fortunate since my walk with God and through yours helps. My life's actually got probably worse in general, but I feel more secure and a better person. I'm not a better person now. I'm a Christian, not just a good person. And so I put faith in God that He's looking after me, and there's been examples of that.
And has it made that real difference in your walk with Jesus? If you felt the difference, could you imagine, for example, you doing this without times of real one-to-one discipleship, walking through the Bible?
I'll be honest, I think I would have failed miserably. Would I walk through them doors by myself? I thinking no. I was low in confidence. I didn't believe. I believe I was being judged, but that might be through my inner, my own judgments.
Yeah.
And I feel like it ain't just about reading the Bible. I've learned the Bible.
Yeah.
I even learned about the Old Testament and the process what's gone through to where we are now. Yeah. And it's, I could have read the Bible for another 25 years and I wouldn't have been where I am now in my walk.
That's excellent. So that's a little bit about discipleship, being discipled. I want to encourage all of us to think about how God might want to bring this into our own lives. Perhaps you are in a stage where you're new to faith, or maybe you feel just a bit stuck. Maybe you've been a Christian for a long time, but you think, I feel stuck in my walk. More intentional sort of one-to-one time can make a huge impact in your life. Or maybe you feel that you have something to offer, something to give. You might not feel you can do it on your own, and that's fine. All of those things, we'd really encourage you as part of this time to think about spending intentional time learning about Jesus, not just what he teaches, of course, but also about who he is and the way that we live our lives day to day.